I want to pick up on the new build in Keynote 6.6, and that's the line draw. In my previous blog entry, we discussed how to just know what it is and a use for it. But there are some extra uses that can duplicate some of the things that you'll see in documentary films and other kinds of special effects. So I fired up Keynote. This is one of the new themes in Keynote called Artisan. Just to click through it a little bit, these are some of the standard drawings that come with it. Kind of cool. And of course this symbol down the bottom here allows you to access photos and movies that are in your photos collection. I've installed here a graphic which shows United States high-speed railway systems. And what one could do, of course, is trace these. And that's the kind of idea. What's the spread of, say, high-speed railways, and make it animated? But let's go back in time to an earlier time and the spread of railways. And this is what I have here. We have the standard illustration which shows the early origins of the American railway system, which is here. Just this section here, which is the red, starting in Sacramento, California, and ending up in Iowa. And two different sections. Here's the Central Pacific, here's the Union Pacific, and then this section here from Sacramento to LA, I think, or San Francisco, looks like it, was added later. And then what I've done is I've added in these arrows to show a putative spread of the railway from there. So let me show you what the end effect is. So here we have, now you just have to imagine you're building this from scratch, so these lines aren't there. So the first line, which is that one, there we go, and then it spreads to here. So if I put this arrow back over here, there we go, and we spread it out, you'll see what I'm trying to say. So the person is talking about the spread of the railway system in the United States. It started here, spread across the far west into the Midwest, and then from there it spread to the major capital cities in the East Coast. And so you can see the use of these arrows. If you just had a wipe on it, it really wouldn't convey in animation terms the best thing possible. So how do we do this? Well, let's go back here, and here, that's the finished product. Let's duplicate this slide like so and go back to our original. We've still got what it's going to look like. Here's the original, and I want to go through from scratch and show you how we do this. So this is a work, so I'll just get rid of all that. So this is the drawing, this is the line that we want to try and emulate, and you saw on the original one how I was able to make it go like this. And you can't do that with just a straight line. So let's go in to 125%. Sometimes when you've got to do these things, you want to go in quite tight, and maybe we can even do it at 150%, just so the whole shape is there. You can even do it higher if you wanted to, and doing it high allows you to do even more matching of the various individual elements. From here we're going to go into shape, and it's going to be the draw with shape pen. And all you have to do, we'll start with the red one here, you just go onto the points, and whenever there's an inflection, that's where you'll click, just in here and here and down. Now the software can actually smooth it out somewhat, but in an illustration like this we don't want to be that persnickety to actually have to do every little curve. It's not going to make it that much difference. Of course, the closer the points are to each other, the curvier it's going to be without you having to make it curvier. And boom. Okay. Now you need to have it switched off, and you do that by doing a double click on this red one, and now it's no longer there. So here's the line. Okay, and it's now encased in that blue that tells you it's there. You can go now into format and change the stroke. So we're going to make it change the color, and we'll change into a brighter red. There we go, brighter red. And we're going to put, we could if we wanted to put a shadow in there, because shadow on movement things are really quite neat. There's just a little bit of shadow, a little bit there. There we go. That's fine. And then we're going to add the endpoints. The one on the right hand side, of course, gives you that endpoint. The one on the left hand side gives you the endpoint going the other side. We don't want that. So that's all we want. And now we're going to animate it, and we're going to use that same line draw that we did before. It's going to be quite fast, which we don't really want. And you can see how it eases in and eases out. We do want to include endpoints there. I'm going to just say none. I just want to be smooth. And we're going to stretch it out to say 4 seconds. Let's try it and see what it looks like. There's our map. And there it is moving along. Boom. Okay. Now on a very large diagram, that's not going to come up very well. So what we want to do probably is go back into format. And let's just thicken this sucker up a bit. That's a little bit better. So we'll make it say 9 point. Let's have another go. Now just imagine that this original line is not there, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay. A little bit off-putting, I have to say, that arrow bending around, but it'll do. We could, if we wanted to, take these things and say smooth it out a little bit, but I think it's actually quite good. I mean, this area here in particular we could smooth out. And make it much smoother. Let's have a bit of a play with it and see what it looks like. You do it by going to Format, Shapes and Line, and you can make it editable. And then if you wanted to, you can go to Movies and then Shape and then make Smooth Point, and it's kind of will smooth it out in various areas, as you can see. So we can sort of smooth it out a little bit here, yeah, and down here if we want to smooth it out. But that will do for the time being. Let's go back over to here, because what we want to be able to do is we want to shoot some arrows across to these areas. And so what you can do is take the shape, and we're just going to take the straight arrow for the time being. And let's head it somewhere near Chicago. Pardon my lack of knowledge of US geography, but let's just say it's there somewhere. I might be wrong. Okay, and we'll do this in slightly different colors. We'll still thicken this up a little bit. There we go. And we'll just change colors into, say, that color. And now we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to stretch this out to, say, somewhere in New York. Now you'll already notice a problem here. The problem is it's already going over this line, so you're going to see two arrowheads sort of together. We don't want that. What I'd like to do is make this come underneath, sort of curve it down a little bit. So having highlighted this, what you can do is go to Format, Shapes and Lines, Make Editable. Okay, Make Editable. And notice that there's this white dot that's appeared, and now you can bend it down, which is kind of cool. Let's just imagine this is, we want to talk about Chicago on this side. You could do the same with this. So highlight this, go to Format, Shapes and Lines, Make Editable, another little curve, and then bring it, if you want, change the endpoint here, and bring it under a little bit, and under a little bit. So now you've got something interesting happening. You can even stretch this up a little bit here, and turn it around the corner. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Boom. Okay. Let's take another straight line and go to, say, Philly over here somewhere. Again, pardon my geography. So we're going to duplicate this line, and we're going to bend it down. Now notice what happens when you take it and you just move it. The whole thing just moves like this, and if you just take the end corner, it just bends it up even further. So we don't want that at all. So again, we're going to have to go into Shapes and Lines, Make Editable, take the endpoint here that we want, and then move this, the endpoint here to, say, somewhere here. And this is a bit too further south, so we're just going to close it up a little bit to there. Okay, we want all these things coming together, so that's kind of cool like that. Yeah. And then we want one coming to Miami. That's going to kind of go down a little bit here. So we're going to create, duplicate this line again, and paste it in. And again, we're going to make it editable. Format, Shapes and Lines, Make Editable. bring this part down so it's going to go into Miami or thereabouts, bend this part up, there we are, and because it's not quite going to go inland here, we can bend this up a little bit like so, okay, and again like so. That's great. Now the order is going to be this one by itself, and then these four, to show the power of the spread, will all go together. So this is already build number 1 in animation, and it's going to go for 4 seconds, and then we want afterwards these to go in. So here's what we're going to do. It's a built-in line draw, 2 seconds. Now what you can do, this one doesn't have anything yet, so rather than playing with that, you can take this, go up to Format, Copy Animation, and then on these 3 simultaneously, paste animation. Boom. Now they've gone each to the default of 2 seconds. This one, 2 seconds. When you do this, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. And really what we want is 4 seconds. So I'd much rather, or 3 seconds here. So we can make this 3 seconds. You can do, you can do this with a copy and paste as well as for the animation. I'll just do it manually. 3 seconds, and then this one's 3 seconds, okay? And if you wanted to, you could change the order so that you can do Miami first, it gets there, and then the other ones. We can do it in either chronological order or just, doesn't really matter, just boom, it squares up. Let's have a look now at the build order, and this should tell us what's going to happen. Let's move this over to here in the middle. Shape is the first one. It's going to come in on a click. The second one, which is the Chicago one, I want to come in after build 1 with a little bit of a break. But then the other ones I want to come in with build 2, with build 2, and with build 2. I think we might be ready to have a quick look to see how it works. So in 1800, whatever it might have been, the effort to cross the United States with railway started in Sacramento, moved its way through the west into the Midwest, ending up in Iowa, and then from there it spread to the west, the central west, and then to the east coast of America. Do it one more time. You start here. Of course, you can build in a break. This next part would be on a click. I've simply decided this one. I think you can see it's a very effective way of using those lines to do such things. Really nice stuff. And of course, you can also do it to track through a graph or whatever it might be. So that's another version of using line draw that allows us to use Keynote to do things that ordinarily you'd have to use much more expensive software to be able to do this sort of special effect. Hope you enjoyed.